On April 13, 2026, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney achieved something that has reshaped the political map of North America: a full parliamentary majority that secures his grip on power until at least 2029. This was not just an electoral victory. It was a historic political reversal that stunned observers, dismantled a powerful opposition movement, and redefined Canada's strategic position at a time of growing tension with the United States. Just 15 months earlier, the situation looked completely different. Carney's Liberal Party was trailing by a staggering margin in national polls, while Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre appeared destined to become the next Prime Minister. The Liberal government was weakened, Justin Trudeau had stepped down under internal pressure, and the political momentum had clearly shifted toward a populist Canada First movement that mirrored the rise of Donald Trump in the United States. But then came a turning point, one that few had anticipated. Mark Carney entered the political arena not as a career politician, but as a crisis manager. A former governor of the Bank of Canada during the 2008 global financial crisis, and later the head of the Bank of England during Brexit, Carney built his reputation in moments of instability. His campaign was not built on traditional political messaging, but on a simple and powerful idea. When systems are under pressure, experience matters more than ideology. That message resonated. As tensions between Canada and the United States escalated, with tariff threats, trade disputes, and increasingly aggressive rhetoric from Washington, Canadian voters began to reassess their priorities. What had once been a conventional political race transformed into something much larger: a decision about economic security, national sovereignty, and Canada's position in a rapidly changing global order. At the same time, Pierre Poilievre found himself in a difficult and ultimately unsustainable position. His political strategy, built on populist messaging and economic nationalism, closely aligned with the ideology of Donald Trump. But as Trump intensified pressure on Canada, suggesting tariffs, challenging trade agreements, and even making controversial remarks about Canada's independence, Poilievre's alignment became a liability. He could not fully distance himself without weakening his political base, and he could not fully embrace that alignment without alienating a broader national audience. This strategic contradiction became a defining weakness. When the 2025 federal election arrived, the outcome was decisive. Mark Carney led the Liberals to victory with one of their strongest popular vote performances in decades. In a stunning development, Poilievre not only lost the election, he lost his own parliamentary seat, marking one of the most significant personal defeats for a major party leader in modern Canadian history. But even then, Carney's position was not secure. His government began as a minority, holding just short of the seats required for full control. This meant constant negotiation, legislative gridlock, and the ever-present risk of a no-confidence vote. Every major policy required cooperation from opposition parties. Every decision carried political risk. For nearly a year, this constraint defined his leadership. Then, slowly but decisively, the balance began to shift. Through a combination of by-election victories and a series of high-profile defections from opposition parties, Carney's Liberals gained ground. One by one, members of Parliament crossed the floor, aligning themselves with the government. These were not random moves. They were calculated decisions driven by changing political realities and growing concern over economic instability linked to U.S. policy. The turning point came when multiple opposition figures publicly justified their decision to join the government, citing the need for stable leadership in the face of external economic pressure, particularly tariffs and trade uncertainty coming from the United States. With each defection, the government grew stronger, until finally the threshold was crossed. A minority government became a majority, and with that shift, everything changed. For the first time since taking office, Mark Carney now governs without the immediate threat of political collapse. He no longer depends on opposition support to pass legislation. He no longer faces the constant risk of triggering a new election. And most importantly, he enters the next phase of Canada's relationship with the United States from a position of strength. Because the timing of this majority is critical. Canada is approaching one of the most important economic negotiations in its modern history. Trade tensions with the United States remain unresolved. Tariffs continue to impact key industries, and the future of North American economic integration is uncertain. In this context, political stability is not just an advantage, it is leverage. A leader backed by a strong parliamentary majority can negotiate differently. He can take longer-term positions, he can absorb short-term political pressure, and he can resist unfavorable terms without the immediate fear of losing power. This is the strategic reality that now defines Carney's position. But the implications go far beyond Canada. What is unfolding is being closely watched by governments and analysts around the world. Canada is increasingly seen as a case study in how democratic systems respond to external pressure, economic disruption, and the rise of populist political movements. Carney's leadership represents a different model, one based not on rhetoric, but on technical expertise, institutional stability, and calculated decision-making. It reflects a broader shift in global politics, where economic management and strategic positioning are becoming just as important as traditional campaigning. At the same time, the relationship between Canada and the United States is entering a new phase. For decades, that relationship was defined by integration, predictability, and mutual dependence. Today, it is becoming more complex, more conditional, and more strategic. Trade is no longer just economic, it is political. Alliances are no longer automatic, they are negotiated. And within this new reality, Canada is repositioning itself, moving toward diversification, strengthening global partnerships, leveraging its natural resources and geographic advantages, all while maintaining a careful balance with its largest trading partner. The coming months will be critical. Negotiations will intensify, political pressures will increase, and the decisions made during this period will shape the future of North America for years to come. But one thing is already clear. Mark Carney is no longer leading from a position of uncertainty. He is leading with a mandate, with stability, and with time. And in global politics, those three factors can redefine outcomes. Stay informed as we continue to break down the evolving dynamics between Canada and the United States, the future of global trade, and the strategic shifts shaping the world economy.